Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, we're going to look at Marvel Team Up number 96, featuring Spider-Man and Howard the Duck. I know I did a Howard the Duck just a few weeks ago in Spooktober, but that was a Spooktober one. This is one that I came across in my stuff, because I liked Marvel Team Up. I probably got more Marvel Team Up than solo back then, anyway, than solo Spider-Man issues. And even then, I was usually Marvel Tales, because I liked the older ones better. So, and Marvel Team Up, of course, featuring Spidey and Howard, is an American comic book published by Marvel Comics. As the title indicates, it is a team-up title featuring Spidey teaming with other characters. It ran from 1972 to 1985. All but 10 featured Spidey for the 150 issues, and 6 out of 7 annuals. Torch and the Hulk starred in the issues not featuring Spidey. Of course, they also teamed up sometimes in the ones with Spidey. After its cancellation, the title was replaced with Web of Spider-Man. But the title was revived 3 times. So this is Volume 1. And Volume 1 was produced by various creative teams over the years. Too many to mention here. But this one, it doesn't even have a team. The whole kit and caboodle was produced by Alan Kupperberg. He wrote it, he drew it, he inked it, he lettered it, and he colored it. So he took, so that must have taken him quite a while to do all of that stuff, I would think. And there must have been a pretty hefty payday for him for getting paid for doing all the jobs. And I don't know whether he was a regular creator on this title or not. I don't know. That I don't know. And let's go take a little look in here. And you can see him. Denny O'Neil was the editor, and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. I said this is from 1980. But considering one person did all of this stuff, you can see he did a marvelous job. And of course, in the splash page, we see both our titular characters. But they're not together. As Spidey swings overhead, and Howard, this is at the time when Howard the Duck was a cab driver. And he has been hired by some Looney Tune to drive him all the way from Cleveland, where Howard lives, to New York. So Howard is stuck in traffic as Spidey swings overhead, and they're each lamenting their lot in life in favor of, said, "Oh, it would be nice to be one of the other," and some really really nice artwork, anatomy, positions, and the backgrounds, the cityscapes is marvelous, and I just love his interpretation of Howard. I like that a lot. And then this is a Looney Tune. He calls himself Status Quo, and he starts talking. He said he's got all quiet. He was quiet the whole ride. Now we're stuck in traffic, and he's going to gab at me. And he talks about how he's like a businessman, accountant, or whatever it was, and he's inundated and very hateful of all the fads and everything, like the frisbees and the skateboarders and the jogging fad and the loud music and all this. and all this other stuff. And so he's in in Cleveland. He got up and publicly and did his rants and got a modest following. And they collected enough money to send him to New York, but he couldn't fly. I don't know why, because it probably would have cost less to fly to New York from Cleveland than it is to take a cab. And this is 44 years ago, and it still costs almost $500. That would probably be $2,000 or more now for something like that, probably more. And Howard just wants to get rid of the guy. He finally gets out. He's called and pays him off there by Central Park. Spidey got home. He had just had some battle with some villain, and he's tired and he wants to sit and relax. This is at the time when he had a junky little apartment all by himself. It's kind of like what you saw in the Spider-Man movies. He turns on the TV to relax a little bit and sees now there's some kind of disturbance in Central Park, and sees it on TV, and he happens to see Howard the Duck. Now, they have met before, and he thinks Howard is the cause of it. But so he gets his gear back on and heads back to Central Park. Well, Howard is out there because he's pretty much it's gridlocked, and he can't get his. So he gets out there and he hears all the goofy stuff this guy is spouting, but all the people, a lot of people, especially older folks, just fall for this guy hook, line, and sinker, and then they're getting violent. They're chasing down and beating up joggers and frisbee throwers and stuff. And he gets there and Spidey gets there and he's trying to hold it. People throwing stuff into the discotheque, and he has to save them. And it's like John Travolta. And Spidey's trying to contain the violence, and then they're throwing frisbees at him. I thought you guys didn't like frisbees. Oh, they rigged these with TNT and they explode. So, and then they're getting away on on skateboards because remember, Howard was always cultural commentary and tongue firmly planted in cheek, and this is kind of a little out of Spidey's wheelhouse a little bit. But now the crowd spots Howard and says, "He's a weirdo. Let's get him!" And so they're chasing him through the park, and he escapes and they go by Belvedere Castle, which is in there. That's where in the park, and that's where he's gotten to the top status quo and is ranting and raving. And Howard hid by taking off his clothes and hiding in the duck pond as just another duck. Then the people in Rockefeller newsroom and Rockefeller Center is trying to see how they can take advantage of all this activity that's going on. Cops are called in. It's Rat Squad, and people are still running around like lunatics. And Spidey's trying to wrap them up. They're after a bunch of kids who are playing around, and he has to get those guys. Well, meanwhile, Howard, who saw status quo on Belvedere Castle, climbs up buck naked. Of course, he's a duck. Climbs up the side of the hill, and he attacks status quo. Boom, boom. And I guess he forgot all his quack foo stuff, even though he mentioned it earlier. He gets a hold of Howard and is about to throw him over the side when Spidey gets there just in time to stop him from killing Howard. They reintroduce themselves, and then newsmen get there, and status quo is just spouting his garbage. Says, unfortunately, people will listen to him. It's all about all kinds of crazy stuff. Here we have a Hulk in Hostess Twinkies ad. Looks like probably Sal Buscema drawing that one. That's a fun one, a little fun one. And then he's all spun up, and they're going to send this guy to the funny farm. Spidey takes Howard to his cab, just as Howard's getting a parking ticket because it's parked next to a no parking zone. Some days it just ain't worthwhile getting out of bed in the morning. Wah! Oh, poor Howard. Poor Spidey. I don't care about status quo. He's a nut. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people just like status quo and still are. So that's all I wanted to share with you this time with Marvel Team Up. It's some really, really nice work by by Paul Kupperberg. Correction, Alan Kupperberg. And all the way around, and and it was a real fun read. I just like Howard, so just about anything with Howard I'm up for. At least the old Howard. I didn't even finish the Howard graphic album that I recently had from the library. Really nice artwork, and it was pretty well written too. But they made Howard he looked like Howard did in that crappy Howard the Duck movie, which I still enjoy watching even though it's crap. But because they had some great effects in there. But this is the version of Howard that I like best. So let's see how it goes in the future. So thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. What do you think of Spidey and Howard? Individually or together? Huh? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.